Greetings, everyone. This is Ali Hussein Kasim of Ali Talks Tech. This is episode 3 of season 2. Today, I am extremely gratified to have with me two gentlemen who I half jokingly and half seriously say that they are the true OGs of fintech in this region. Sebi Salim on my far right and Paul Mugwa of Eclectics. Eclectics is a fintech technology company that has been around for a while. Main focus is on financial technology, but let me not tell their story. Let them tell their story. Today, Eclectics is in or has operated in probably half the African countries, right?
Yeah.
But again, Paul, my brother,
Yes.
how did we get here? Fintech is something that you guys had way before anybody probably in this country and in this region had what fintech is. Tell us about that, and then I will go to Sebi.
Right after school, I got a job with Standard Chartered in the IT data center, and that meant having to wear very warm because the data center's temperatures were very low.
Those were the days when an IT manager was not an IT manager until they hear
Yes.
the rules of a server.
Yeah. The mainframe
in a
servers.
cold room somewhere.
So we were actually advised not to stay in for long.
Wow.
Because so we had desk outside and we had an open screen to see the servers. That time you'd see them flickering to tell whether the system is down or not. But then I said by that time I was still in Strathmore and we were now learning more. So I was moved from the data center to the IS department, which was now Information Systems department, where you're dealing now with more application processes and so on. I did that, that was 96, going all the way to 99. I was ready to exit from Standard Chartered to Cooperative Bank after doing all the interviews.
Yes.
But the managers of Cooperative Bank who are using the same system as Standard Chartered were former Standard Chartered.
Interesting.
So they were on the other side, and immediately I said where I was going. I was told, no, wait until after Y2K, because there are several things you have done and they are under the Y2K project. So wait until. You will still go, but wait until the Y2K
after
crossover.
Y2K.
Yeah. And I had medical, I had offer letters, everything. And yes, I was patiently waiting for the end of March, because they had said until end of March, then I cross over. That time, something was happening in cards, and I was very central in debit cards. And the former
within the banking sector.
And Standard Chartered was the lead in that. So we had a launch in Carnival for the debit card. The director of ICT Central Bank was
Saka, what year was that?
Kiangura. This is in 2000 now.
2000 now.
I'm supposed to be crossing over.
So that's 23 years ago.
I have some photos that are very interesting.
Some of my team members are not even 23 here.
I am sure. I am sure. Now, that event turned out to be that I will not longer take the other job. Because we had Kiangura, who was the director of IT in Central Bank. In the conversation, me speaking there, I got another offer.
Allah.
And that's how I ended up being in Fintech, which is a company that was already established. And their interest for me to go and do digital channels, in this case, it was dial-up calls for internet banking for
So
corporates.
this, to be clear, this company was called Fintech International.
It was called Fintech International then,
That's 23 years ago.
23 years ago, without
Okay.
any connotation to the fintech that we know now.
So basically, some of us are just pretenders to this fintech conversation.
So it was interesting being that my first practical job outside the first job that you get from college
Yes.
was in a fintech. So
Wow.
to be where we are, I relate a lot that I started seeing how do you develop and serve and build and, extend
Yes.
in that institution.
Wow.
But I was there for now from 2000, in March 2000. Then I moved now to up to 2009. Then 2007, 2008. Then we left to start
Okay.
Eclectics.
So I'll stop you right there.
Yes.
Because this story converges at Fintech International. And that's why Sebi and you are here together.
Sure.
Brother Sebi, you and I share a lot these days. We are both board members of the Association of Fintechs in Kenya. Thank you for your service, by the way. This is not something that the association takes lightly. More often than not, it's a thankless paying job. It doesn't put any shilling in your pocket. In fact, sometimes it removes money from your pocket. Sebi, what's your story? These OGs of fintech.
So I think on my side, again, also I was privileged to have gone through computers in high school. So we used to have from Form 1, Form 2, people used to rush to the computer labs because there were like, I think, 7, 8 computers. And those days were the very old days when Mac had old initial ones. We used to have machines doing a basic. So we used to rush to a few applications. So there were grades. You do like lesson 1, 2, 3 all the way. And then after that, you become a computer room supervisor. So then after that, then you have access to a better machine. So
you graduate.
Yes, exactly. So, and the better machine was when I remember when Windows 95 came out. It was like we could not believe.
Windows 95.
Yes. So it was like something had happened. So anyway, so I went through that process, and when I finished during the time when I was in college, I used to do small jobs because I had already small experience in development. And so I used to work for a company called Silicon Bazaar. And
I remember that company.
Yes. So this was the first Linux company in Africa. That's how it was called. And so we used to have a small office just trying 1 or 2 applications. But then in the opposite side, there was a fintech building. And a couple of my friends from high school, they went there straight. So when I said, let me go to college, they went directly to fintech. And so there was almost like a coincidence, because somebody had already told me about Paul.
Yes.
So, and I was like, yeah, I really need to meet this guy.
Yes.
Yeah. So coincidentally, I was going to sell a software at the same building. I was walking around with, those days you walk around with diskettes and I don't know.
CDs.
Yes, and trying to see if you can tell someone this is what I'm doing. And there was a company, My Jobs, I think, in the same building. So I bumped into Paul in the lift. And of course, I had been told this is Paul. So I started, hey, my name is this and this is what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Paul said, why don't you come to my office and come and meet me? So I think there was that connection from day one.
From day one.
Yes. So that's how I also ended up in fintech.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So it was interesting because, people don't say it, but you actually coached to do the interview. So Paul was like, look, this
is what you do.
Yes. So it was a very interesting journey because at that point, like, this is what you're gonna be asked. This is what you this is how you're going to do it.
So you both ended up working at Fintech International.
Exactly. So I used to work as his developer in Fintech. And of course now we were a lot involved in, we did lots of travels. We did huge projects in those days, like the check truncation, where you've seen a lot of countries are moving towards that. These are
check what now?
Like check truncation solution.
Could you explain to my viewers what check truncation means, and maybe even what check means, because guys are on mobile money today, are on mobile apps and RTGSs and stuff.
Yeah. So I think in the olden days, people used to, or rather, people still write checks to. When I want to pay you, I'll write you a check, and that check you deposit in your bank, and your bank takes the check. Previously, they used to take the check physically to the clearing house. So there was a place where people sit, and then they exchange checks. They say these checks are all for Bank 1, Bank 2, Bank 3. They are all exchanged, and then using that process, they do settlements and say this bank owes this one.
How far have we come?
Yeah, it was. It's been a long journey.
Today we have the national payment system that does all that stuff. Yeah. Before we had this, literally almost like an auction house. Yeah. Where different banks come with their checks, physical checks in bags, and put them on the table. Yeah. And like, okay, this is mine, this is yours. This is mine, this is yours. How do we net off?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It was actually an auction house, because if there are 40 banks, and the customers that have walked in have given us checks of each of the banks.
Correct.
Those are checks that are outgoing.
Yes.
Banks would sort them in envelopes. So you get one person carrying, assuming there was a check for each bank.
Yes.
They have to carry 40 envelopes in the bank. And I'll wait for each one of them and exchange. That time, even I'm doing that, I don't know whether that signature is correct, because the signature is on the other side.
So you have to go back and cross-check.
The other person will have to go with the batch I've given them to go and do signature verification, or even physical. And that's why it was taking 4 days to get.
Sometimes even longer.
Even longer, yes. Yeah. To get a check cleared.
Yes, Sebi. Check truncation.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how we started our journey together in Fintech. As I said, there was a lot of traveling. We did a lot of back office automation.
Yes.
So previously, you remember the days of also the olden platforms, like the likes of Microbanker, the earlier days of FlexCube. Those were like,
so basically core banking those days was like bleeding edge technology.
Yeah. There was no APIs like what we have seen right now. So you had to come up with different ways to integrate.
Yes.
You simulate a Taylor posting, you screen scrape, you write applications to do all sorts of things. So it was quite an interesting journey.
So you were really on the ground of what today we know as fintech or financial technology. So your entrepreneurial journey, a couple of years at Fintech International, and then you guys founded Eclectics. So how did that come about, Paul?
Yeah, just one step down. I mean, one step back is it was interesting, as he says, because I get into this lift and he has actually pressed the lift from ground, which is the reception, but I would park on first floor.
Yes.
That mezzanine.
Yes.
So meaning that I'm the one who is getting to the lift after.
Yes.
And I find this gentleman has pressed in the floor I'm going into, and therefore I don't have to press. And we are the only ones. A conversation had to ensue.
Yes.
Young man, where are you going? And obviously he has already been told about me. And he said, okay. Then I was quite keen to find out who are your colleagues or friends in this.
Yes.
Because birds of a feather flock together.
together.
So I needed to assess quickly who does he relate to? And he related to some of my best
Friends.
because I was the head of the department.
Yes.
And that automatically gave me an assurance
Yes.
of so why don't you come to my office? And he came in, and the next thing is just that engagement, because it has to go through the formal process of employment.
Yes.
And I'm checking on his immediate skills, his next level of skills, and so on. And he came on board. But what was also very interesting for me, and that's why we kept the friendship, because he came in and said, not like somebody I knew before.
Yes.
We have just met. It is the hardworking and ethics and discipline. I was putting a lot of hours working, because again, when you are the first to change bill application from now DOS into Windows that has just been released, the thinking was the amount of time, and now you're talking about so many systems that are on that level of those operations that need to be moved or to enjoy. So instead of full converting the applications, we would build integration so that the DOS was running on the Windows.
I want to hold you 1 minute there and ask Sebi a question. Sebi, how many developers you work with today have come across DOS? Do we even know what DOS means anymore?
Count. I think you'd count.
You'd count with your hands.
Yeah.
You'd count. Very, very few. You'd not. There are just a handful, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way you are born in an environment that is, the rest is history. When you're finding yourself so privileged, it's like asking a child now today whether they can operate without a TV in the home or without Wi-Fi. And so some of us, I'm saying right from the experience of having by that time, possibly 10 years in banking and finding the DOS applications and what we were trying to do in the banking. So me walking in here and finding Fintech is serving multiple banks, not only in Kenya, but in the region, we needed to be the first to change them.
Okay.
So working with Sebi and obviously the team that was there, it is my initiative to say, guys, we need to digitize signature. So we had to come up with application like, what are we calling it?
SIGCAP. Signature verifications.
Yeah. So
SIGCAP.
Yes. That means instead of the customer walking in and them looking into a different application, checking the signature, the teller, that's what they were doing.
It should come up immediately.
Yeah. At least they were clicking in F5 and to pull out the signature immediately, and the customer is in front, and service time was now even shorter. But beyond that, we started also doing applications now based on Windows.
Yes.
And I think that's why now the company grew, because we needed more developers and so on. But I was getting to a point that my connection with Brother Sebi was purely because we spend more time working together. And whether it's a weekend or whether it is holiday, we'd find ourselves among the few ones that are in the office. But also seeing results together, because hard work is equal to results. So we found ourselves also getting to that level. So it came to a time towards 2008. I did communicate to the board.
Yes. Fintech International.
Yes, and this was in Vic Falls in Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls, that I need to exit. The immediate reaction is that by the time you came in, that's from the directors. You came in to just address the payment side, which is said. That's how we met in Carnival. You came in now, you became head of development. Later on from development, we take you now to be in charge of the entire fintech group, not the department.
Yes.
I was now commercial director.
Yes.
And now you're the group general manager, and now you want to exit. We have helped you grow. So they felt like it was not my time. I must confess that I reached out to some of the people, and they also gave me the same feedback. You're at your peak. It's not time to exit.
It's not time to exit.
It's not time to exit.
They thought that you had smoked something in the morning.
There must be something wrong at your age of at your age of possibly 26, 27. You are group general manager, and you are earning the much you're earning. Others will even it's an offense. We have taken you to school. It's, it gets in that. But a personal drive, let me tell you this now, nothing as much as your own fire.
Correct.
It burns you.
Yes.
We agreed that I'm going to extend 1 more year.
Wow.
But there were conditions.
Mm.
That was to get some shares and so on. But I think the longer I stayed within that 1 year, the more the fire grew.
The more the fire burnt.
Yes, I need to exit and do things for myself and so on. So I reached out to my closest people and said, I'm exiting. And I think I had like 4 people. I said, I have 4 months, 5 months to exit. And this is my thoughts. And even without a second thought, is that we have to go.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember us meeting formally in my house, in my coach. We are the coach and just discussing and saying, I think we can make it. And we knew, he can repeat again, we will do it, the continuous vision that we had, because we had now managed to do so much. We knew how much, because I kept on saying, if you can develop or own or originate a product, if you can sell it, because you're developed because,
yes.
And if you can value it and you can support it and you can engage the customer, the ingredients that we needed, we had them. So it is where you're walking out from a company that possibly you're doing $6-7 million to say, what about if it was $2 million just by ourselves?
Yes.
Because it is purely dependent on us. We came with the leasing system, we came with the check truncation system.
Wow.
We did internet banking, things that were not there in the company that we came in, because they were just doing core banking and networking and so on and so on. So I think employment is good because it helps you know how to handle structures of an organization.
And it grounds you.
It grounds you. It brings in discipline. It helps you learn how to handle employees and process. And I think I had personally gotten to that point
where you just needed to.
Everything that was necessary for me to jump out and have it as our own.
Sebi, how about you?
Yeah, so I think
I'm sure you just didn't blindly follow Paul. What's your story?
Yeah, so I think as Paul has said, there was the urge to do other things, to get into, because remember the space is also so huge, and when you look at the solutions, there was every kind of solutions. So I remember when you had sent me to Uganda. I was in Uganda for DFCU project. That was in 2004.
DFCU, that's a bank in Uganda.
Yes, that's one of the banks in Uganda, way in 2004. So sometimes the projects they could take long. So you are there for months. You are there for quite a long period of time, and you do a lot of automations. You do all sorts of things. So we keep on, at that point in time, you get a request. This is what is required. The bank wants this. The bank wants this. The bank wants this. And because you are seated there, you're engaging the customer. You get to learn to know, how do I talk to the customer? How do I engage? How do you close the sale? How do you do this? How do you do this? Sending feedback back to base. This is what is required. At the same time, you're doing project management. You're learning how the stuff works. So it gives you a lot of advantage, because there's nothing as hard as getting a project and closing it end to end. Because I think for developers, you get tired at some point. You get bored. You're like, okay, it reaches a point where the client still is doing UATs and UATs that are not ending requirements that are coming in and all that. So that's just managing, being able to tell the client, look, let's just go live with this.
Yes.
Let's do this. Let's start with this. This is the initial. Super difficult to convince.
Today we call it MVP.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
minimum viable product.
Absolutely. So yes, getting just that release, the first release, was very, very difficult. But I think just out of the lessons, out of the learnings, of course, that brought a very good side to us.
Okay.
And of course, as Paul was thinking of that, of exiting again, also on our side or on my side was also the same. Just what is it that we need to do? How do we? What is this that can go out to sell? What are these solutions? What is it that the banks are looking for, and all that? So of course, then when that time came, it was a very good time when we had the conversation on that and said, look, yeah, I think it doesn't make sense for us to
continue
staying behind. On my side, of course, it was less risky. I was still pretty much a single person with just the drive to. I could go anywhere. You could send me to Kazakhstan and for months, and I'll still
you'll still go. But Paul had a family.
Yes, so it was a bit easier on that front. But I think in retrospect, it was a very, very good decision that we made to do that.
You guys made the decision.
Yeah.
You moved. You started Eclectics International. Today, you probably have served most of the banks in the region.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit, both of you, Sebi. Feel free to flow between the two of you. Your journey building Eclectics to today.
It's an interesting one because, of course, initially when we were starting, there was nothing. Like you.
So how much money did you raise from VCs?
We're still hoping to raise someday. Yeah. So you live out, and at that point we had an office at Norwich Union. So where in town where
opposite Hilton.
Yes. And of course now because of the address and all that, it was quite difficult to convince a bank that
corporate
that is where your office are and all that. So and again, also if you look at it, we were quite lucky because a lot of the initial projects that we did were for outside. So for example, we had call center solutions that we were building. Which nowadays you hear the CRM and all those things. So we used to have solutions that we built that had escalations that could manage call centers for the banks. Integrate that to the core banking where you're able to pull balances when a customer calls.
Yes,
and to do that. So that was the initial time we went doing stuff in Rwanda. We were lucky to get a couple of clients also in Rwanda.
Okay.
So then, of course, we moved to the office where we are in Tumishi House
near Serena,
next to Serena. So initially, it was just a one-room place. We could manage that, but again, as the team continued to grow, all that from very few developers to 200 developers, that becomes definitely a very huge operations on that. And we consistently, of course, opened up new markets, places where people had never gone, started doing malls on different areas within the region, moved to Southern Africa, moved to across. So it was quite an interesting journey because on my side, I was doing more of the technical management side.
Yes. And Paul was doing business development.
Yes.
I saw, I think, is it today morning or yesterday, your new deployment on mobile money?
Well, yeah.
I forget the client's name, but
our telecom.
Solomon Islands.
Solomon Islands.
Yes.
I mean, I was trying to figure out where Solomon Islands is. I mean, I consider myself an Afrocentric person, but I could not picture. But I mean, you've deployed a mobile money solution now.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well done, guys. Well done.
Thank you. It's not easy as my colleague had just mentioned. When you have absolutely no profile other than your confidence,
and your skill set.
And at that time, I think only the laptops. By that time, you needed to print a proposal and bind. So there are things that you needed to have in an office because all proposals had to be physical.
Correct.
So we just needed capital required was not much. It was just intellectual that was needed. But obviously, I mean, for me, I had to downgrade my life immediately because I was using a company car and I had to use another, what was it called? That
Sangyong.
Yeah, Sangyong. I had a different car and here I had to leave my Land Rover and so on. I mean, it makes a certain decision.
But that's what entrepreneurs do, right? Entrepreneurs are just
risk taking.
It's risk taking.
Yeah.
It's the ability to see your future, or at least attempt to see your future, or focus on it, and then work towards it. Yeah,
I can tell you, yes.
I remember those days when the VC culture, the venture capitalist culture in this country really happened less than 10 years ago. So all the tech startups that happened during that time were through what I call BST, blood, sweat, and tears. That was your funding.
Absolutely.
So, you went through your initial stages. You are now, a successful financial technology company working with quite a number of banks. How's the journey so far?
So I wanted to cover that part of the starting, because you are so equipped, and a lot of youth now, they feel the same.
Yes.
You're very well equipped in terms of knowledge.
Yes.
Being an IT, I keep saying it's like DAF. You can build anything,
Correct.
So, but that's not enough, unfortunately. The marketing skill was required, because you're coming here and you don't have the history profile and so on. So we started walking across to people that we knew and so on. And you're saying, guys, not even an issue of money, because even our cost is low. So it's not, but just give us an opportunity. So I remember getting us going to Prime Bank and getting an SMS notification. They have a complete system, but they're saying, we want to see a notification. We are the ones actually who are telling them that we have something that we can do.
Yes.
So that if a credit card transaction comes through, and the system, by the way, that time is in another country, in Dubai, but because they have to hit the core banking, we have to send an SMS notification. And the customer hears and says, I think that makes sense. Because that time, whatever we are doing is not happening with other banks.
Yes.
And he says, okay, come and try it. There's no order, there's nothing. We have to provide evidence.
Today it's known as a POC.
There was no connectivity to the telcos. You have to use the Nokia
3310. So
connect it
modem.
Physically.
Wow.
Connect it physically.
Like a GSM modem now.
It becomes a GSM modem. And then read the SMS from there.
These Nokia 3310s were real workhorses.
Yes. So we go there, then we go Southern Credit, and we got...
so before you get there, so after you successfully executed that, free,
POC.
no documentation, no commitment, proof of concept. What happened?
Now you're left at the mercy of the customer to say how much they pay you.
Wow.
I may not mention figures here, but they are not equal to anybody's salary today. But that is a system you have left on the ground.
Yes.
But you just want to have their logo in the PowerPoint.
So that's your marketing now.
Yes. It has to be a strategy.
Yes.
So you can imagine yourself, you're starting a company, and if the first top slides, are you surely talking about your product, your experience, or something?
Yes.
Now you are starting a company, the slides are empty. You have the company name on slide number 1. From there on, you can only talk about
your products and what you've done before.
No, you have no. You can't talk things you have done in other banks.
You can't.
So
another
company. So you have empty slides that have to be filled. You have to start saying SMS.
This is what I'm
that's on one slide. Then move into another and another, like that. So we have built that slide that you see. Our company profile could be 20 slides today.
Yes.
It has been built with what you're saying, blood, sweat, and
tears.
I can assure you, there's nothing that is in that today 20 very rich profile that has not gone through that sweat.
Wow.
But as I said, we started contacts again, send a team to Gambia, the smallest country in Africa, top left in between the Francophone countries, which are here between the width of the country could be something between 4 kilometers.
I only know Gambia because of roots. the series.
Yeah. So it's an interesting. So we
Yes.
get there and we get the biggest bank, and with the relationship, and that's what I keep comparing today with our developers. Our developers are, I mean, current generation, they're one-sided. But I would send this gentleman and some other gentleman, and they go in there to automate a whole bank. And it's not taking systems that we already have. It is listening at the requirements, sending them
And
across,
doing from scratch.
and doing from scratch, and coming up with a product
Wow.
and getting certified UAT and something. Now, then that now can be sold to another bank and another bank and another bank. But that initial one, you don't even know how to quote, because even the customer is listening to you say, why are you doing a manual process? We can automate for you. Now we start documenting and so on and so on. Yeah, like you have just mentioned, we have grown. As we are now, it's 28 countries, 264 banks.
More than half the African countries.
Yes. Tens of
You have
microfinance.
touched 264 banks.
Yes. And in one
Wow.
bank, you find we have 10 or so
Solutions.
projects running in this. So we have done 1,500 projects today.
Wow.
Plus. Yeah.
Sebi.
Yeah, I think as Paul is saying, the journey was quite rough, and you get the requirements on demand. So you are there to do one or two things. You end up building more for the client.
Did you say
'Cause-
requirements on demand?
Yeah.
So basically, even the issue today on projects where we talk about scope creep was not even in the vocabulary. You just do what you need to do.
Exactly. Get the product out and get sign-offs and close that, request another phase, get something else. So it was quite interesting journey. And I think maybe what you had just mentioned earlier for us, if you look at the financial services, and now the project that you just mentioned of what we just launched the other day.
Yes.
When someone looks at mobile money, when you look at what Safaricom has built over
Yes.
the years and the technology
Yes.
and that, it is quite a massive. There is so much tech involved in
Yes.
that, and for us to get the privilege of doing that exactly the same solution
For telco.
for our telecom in Solomon Islands is major for us. It is quite a big. It's a big one, because that is the largest telecom in the oceanic area.
Wow.
And
Congratulations, guys.
Yes, and of course now
Thanks.
we have other projects that are coming up still for multiple telecoms on the same line. And the beauty, it was a UNCDF project, so
Okay.
it was also a massive one for us.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a good one. That was a very good one. But across the journey, you would see all sorts of introducing new, like for example, internet banking, as Paul had mentioned earlier, was more of a dial-up. Net was not there, so you dial up into it,
No more
and
telephone,
then you generate probably statements. You download
Yes.
stuff. You're able to import maybe in your
Now it's an
desktop.
always-on
Now,
application.
always- yeah, exactly.
You don't even need to think
you
about
don't even
it.
need internet. Like is an afterthought. that there's net.
So 17 years of building financial tech
Yep.
in 265 countries.
Yep.
You guys are truly the OGs of fintech. What next for you guys? What's next? What are the other horizons that you're looking at conquering?
One thing, Ali, is that we usually don't seem to follow others. I mean, I can confirm to you like
Yes.
that. In most of the countries, we have been the first in offering. I remember a case in Malawi.
Yeah.
A country that had never experienced, not even with the telcos, any mobile money.
Wow.
So we are here, obviously, sent the team on the ground, closed the deal. Again, as we were fighting with the South Africans. And so we finally, but convinced them. Well, you're starting. This was December when?
December 2000 and
No, the date. It was like December.
23rd,
Yeah.
22nd.
So I'm there.
Just before Christmas.
Yes,
A day
I'm
before
there like
Christmas.
December 18th. And the customer has already said, we want to start the project on 1st.
Of January.
Yes. And I'm here negotiating between now and fast, give us an opportunity because we don't have the history.
Yes.
And we are competing with the South African who have done it. You know. So I'm here convincing, give us the time between now and that time to give a POC.
Wow. Between 18th December and January 1.
January 1.
And we all know that by 18th, 19th,
windows,
nobody's really working.
Now, I only want to show you the commitment. I came and shared with my guys and they flew in like 20 seconds. Down.
And got to work.
Two or three guys, yes. Went and started. And by 4th of when the team is convening, the bank, they could do USSD in the country with the fast telco, fast bank, fast everything. Wow. And obviously that meant liaising with the Chinese who had brought in the Huawei system because it is there. That's
the lesson here, guys.
It is become an innovator, you know, and I keep saying this, and you've heard that there is the users. We refuse to be users. There is value addition, meaning you're adding something on top of somebody, or the creators, you know, innovators. We agreed, we set up our vision clearly is to be innovators. And every country, every client, we wanted to be that. And that's what has made us spread that fast across these countries. With the minimal resistance from competition, but a lot of resistance from we haven't seen it before. How is it going to work? And so on. So we have been able to understand that the customer is not just saying no. It is not having experienced it before.
Wow.
But now we go around that and saying we will put in our effort, time, investment to prove to you that it's gonna work. And I will tell you that in the process, it has made it difficult because we are not selling what everybody is selling to price. Something that cannot be seen, understood by the customer, they don't know what the price.
Yes.
And with limited resources like everywhere else, everything is expensive.
Yeah.
The only way to beat around that is say, we know that you may have these resources, but once we grow, we want to benefit with the growth.
Yes.
So yes, customers say we have $100,000. That's fine. We put in the budget, but we wanted $500,000. We want to go into.
So how do you get the rest of the money?
Yes, the only way is our confidence level that yes,
it will work.
This system, 5-6 years down the line, will give several millions of dollars. So it makes it possible for us now to say, that's your budget. We will take it, sign the contract on long term, so that once you start growing, we also get the money that we like sacrifice.
So some sort of revenue share.
It's revenue share. So we are part of the beginners on revenue share in the industry.
So Microsoft has this internal saying that eat your own dog food.
Yes.
Believe whatever you believe in.
Yes.
Start eating it.
Yep.
So this is basically what you guys have said.
Yes.
We have so much confidence in what we are building.
Yeah.
We'll take the small little money you have.
Yes.
As a starting point, because you know we have to as a commitment, and we also have to put in some hours.
Yes.
And the rest will come as revenue share.
I can assure you, and somehow that becomes the trend now.
It has become the trend now.
Yeah, and I can tell you several cases without mentioning names where that becomes in the agreement. For example, 10 years arrangement, 5 years they want to buy you off.
Because now they are seeing that you're making too much money.
At this trend, the $1 million you had told them you're going to charge, now you're already now going to be earning 3, 4, 5, and so on. So they give you an offer. And obviously, you're not desperate, so you don't take it. You say, the contract is there, so let's respect it. Yeah.
Wow.
But I mean, it shows the sacrifice we made initially. And the customer at that time, they don't have the vision of, yes, it's going to work. It's going to give you more money than, but we have the experience. We know it's going to work. And yeah.
Gentlemen, we are almost coming to the end of this conversation. I always hope that, we can do 2 hours or so, but I can see my producers already giving me eyes and telling me we need to shut this down. Sebi, Paul, asanteni sana. Is there one last word you want to tell entrepreneurs coming up in the Pan-African tech ecosystem? What will be the thing that you would tell them most? Let's start with Sebi and then finish up with Paul.
Yeah, I think on my side, I would always tell them to be assured the journey is not easy. I mean, it has never been easy, but the beauty of it is always to believe in their gut feeling that, and one step. You know, when climbing Kilimanjaro, they say kala, like one step. If you rush, you can't make it.
You will not finish.
You won't make it because you've not acclimatized enough. So just that one step, the lessons, the learnings, you will be able to do it. So that would be my take.
Sebi, thank you so much. Sage advice. Paul.
Yeah. I think commitment. Whether you're employed or you're going to start your own, commitment is very important. And as just mentioned, keeping a vision that you only possibly have clarity on, that no matter what, you're going to make it. Because yes, you get now other people to work with you, like employees, to share the vision and so on, but you're the vision bearer.
Yeah.
You have to strike and work towards it. Eclectics is just halfway of what it needs to be. It's just a fraction. As you mentioned, now 28 countries. We are now going outside of Africa.
Wow.
We have captured the likes of Egypt now. I mean, all the countries that we thought are difficult initially. And it's purely because, and we believe many more are coming in. I mean, signing contracts with multinationals that are not only in Africa are going to propel us to those countries. But the journey starts more, as my colleague is saying. That commitment, that hard work, we have just mentioned the sacrifice, the sleepless nights we have had. But most important, dragging everybody along or working with everybody along will help an institution grow from that zero position to mid-range to the best that there is. I mean, the sky is the limit for
Paul. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sebi, asanteni sana. Guys, you have it from the OGs of Fintech. I want to close this third episode of Early Talks Tech of our second season by thanking my two brothers, my two colleagues. We work in the same ecosystem, and today, like yourselves, I'm also learning also a lot of what they've gone through. You know, sometimes you have friends and you've worked with them for many years, but it takes sitting like this to actually get some of these things out. And this is all about telling our African tech story. Asanteni, and talk to you guys soon. Thank you.